All right, let's talk about something we all deal with, our relationship with social media. What is it actually doing to our brains? Today, we're going to dig into the powerful science that shows why taking a break, even a really short one, can make a huge difference.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever really stopped to think about it? To do the math on how much time you've spent scrolling? I'm not just talking about minutes here and there. I mean, what does it add up to? Weeks? Months? The answer might just be the wake-up call you need.
Okay, look at this number. 1,560 hours. Let that sink in. A 21-year-old on Reddit actually calculated this. It's how much time he spent on Instagram alone in just 6 years. That's like working a full-time 40-hour-a-week job for almost 10 months straight. And remember, that's just one single app. Believe me, this doesn't happen by accident. It's by design.
So, let's get into the why. Because if you've ever found yourself scrolling when you know you should be doing something else, it's so important to understand this. It's not a lack of willpower. Not at all. It's about brain chemistry. These platforms are literally engineered to hook us, using a very specific trick our own biology plays on us.
It all comes down to something called the dopamine loop. See, dopamine is that feel-good chemical in your brain. It's tied to pleasure, to reward, and every time you get a notification, a like, a comment, a share, your brain gets a tiny little hit of it. It feels good, right? But it's a quick fix, and your brain very quickly learns, hey, that app gives me that good feeling, and it starts a cycle that keeps you coming back for more.
And here's exactly how that loop plays out. So, you post something. You wait, a little notification pops up, that little red bubble, and bam, there's your dopamine reward. But it fades fast, so almost immediately your brain wants another one. So what do? You scroll, you refresh, you check again. And the cycle just keeps going. A lot of the time, completely on autopilot.
Now this is where it gets really smart, and honestly, a little creepy. It works on the exact same principle that makes slot machines so addictive. It's called intermittent reinforcement. You don't get a reward every single time you refresh your feed, right? It's unpredictable. And that uncertainty actually makes the dopamine hit even stronger when you finally get it. It's what makes the habit so powerful and so incredibly difficult to break.
Okay, so this constant cycle of dopamine hits doesn't just affect our habits, and this is where the research gets pretty startling. It can physically actually change the structure of our brains.
Yeah, this one is a little tough to hear, but studies are showing that heavy social media use can shrink the gray matter in your prefrontal cortex. You can think of this part of your brain as its CEO. It's the boss in charge of making good decisions, regulating your emotions, and controlling your impulses. So when it's weakened, it gets a lot harder to resist that urge to just keep scrolling.
And the difference is just, well, it's night and day. When we're online, our attention span is all over the place, jumping from a meme to a message to a video. Our ability to manage emotions gets thrown off. Our sleep hormones get all messed up. But when we're offline, our brains can actually get back to their natural state, Sustained focus, balanced emotions, and a healthy sleep cycle.
And let's just talk about sleep for a second, because this is a big one. That blue light coming from our screens is a huge problem. It basically tricks our brain into thinking it's still daytime. And when that happens, it stops producing melatonin. That's the hormone that tells your body, hey, it's time to go to bed. It's exactly why you can find yourself scrolling for hours and then wondering why you can't fall asleep.
So if we know all this stuff is bad for us, why is it so ridiculously hard to stop? Well, when you try to unplug, you usually smash right into what I call the withdrawal wall. And no, this is not just in your head. It's a real physical experience.
I love this quote from someone on Reddit who quit. It nails it. That anxious feeling, that FOMO, that fear of missing out, that's not some personal failing on your part. It's a withdrawal pang. It's a symptom that was literally manufactured by the apps you're trying to get away from. And look, the data backs this up. In one study, people volunteered for a 7-day social media break. They wanted to do it. And still, nearly 60% of them couldn't make it. They relapsed. Even with the best intentions, the pull was just too strong.
So what does this withdrawal actually feel like? Well, the symptoms are almost identical to what people experience when quitting other addictive things. You get intense cravings, anxiety, you feel irritable, you feel bored, a deep, profound boredom, mood swings, loneliness, even trouble sleeping. So if you've ever tried to take a break and felt any of this, you are not alone. It is a completely normal part of your brain hitting the reset button.
But, and this is a big but, What happens if you can just push through that wall? This is where the story gets really, really good. The science is totally clear. The payoff from even a short digital detox is immediate and it is significant.
And we're not talking about needing months or years to feel better. A study from the University of Bath found that after just 1 week away from social media, people reported major improvements in their mental health. 1 week!
And what does that actually look like in real life? Well, we're talking less anxiety, a better mood, and just a higher sense of well-being. People in the study said they slept better, their minds felt clearer, they could focus more easily, and they felt more connected to the actual people around them.
And here's the cold, hard data. You can see it right here. In a clinical study, they measured anxiety levels using a standard medical scale. The average score dropped like a rock after just 1 week. They also measured sleep quality, and it went from being in the poor range all the way to healthy. So these aren't just vague feelings. These are real, concrete, measurable changes in people's lives.
And hey, remember that crazy amount of time we talked about at the beginning? That same University of Bath study found that people who took a week break got back an average of 9 hours of their life. 9 hours in a single week. I mean, what would you do with an extra 9 hours?
All right, so if you're listening to all this and thinking, okay, I'm in, the next question is, where do you even start? Well, the great news is you don't have to delete all your accounts and move to a cabin in the woods. Here's a super simple, totally doable plan for your first mini detox.
Okay, step 1, set an intention. Get really clear on why you're doing this. Is it to feel less stressed? To get your focus back? Step 2, define your time frame. Start small. Try it for 1 evening or 24 hours or maybe a weekend. Step 3, identify your triggers. Come on, you know which app is your biggest time sink. Be honest with yourself. And finally, step 4, and this is the most important one, replace the screen time. Don't just leave a big empty void. Plan something else to do. Go for a walk, pick up a book, call a friend.
So, here it is. We've seen the science of how these apps are built to get us hooked. We know that the withdrawal feeling is totally real, and we've seen the incredible benefits that are just waiting for us on the other side of even a short break. The only real question left is, what are you going to do with all that time and mental space you get back?